Hello everyone. So today we will be discussing about agreement and disagreement in EFL or in English in general. So for this purpose, we will be discussing three things. The first one is agreement. The second one is phrase or expressions or signposting used for disagreement, as well as the third one is for the partial agreement, disagreement, and also interruption. The first one is agreement. It is always polite to show that you agree with someone or disagree with someone directly. You need to note that not in all culture, silence is understood as an agreement. So for some cultures, when you are silent, you are considered to agree. But in other cultures, it's not the case. So it is better for you if you agree with an opinion or in an idea, you are expected to say so whether you are agree. So there are some expressions here to be used for the agreement, like such as that's so true, that's right, that's for sure, tell me about it, you are about absolutely right, I'm afraid I agree, I have to side blah 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 on this one, me too, that's the shortest one. Me neither, if you use the negative statements, but try to avoid negative statements because sometimes it's not understandable and people might get confused to understand your meaning. I suppose so. And there are additional other expressions such as absolutely, exactly, I couldn't agree more, I see exactly what you mean, and so on. I'm on the same opinion. That's those are some agreements expressions which are common. You can definitely use other types of agreement expressions. So, for example, you might say that you absolutely couldn't agree more, and so on. You can combine one or more expressions into your own statement of agreement. The second one is partial agreement. Depending on your discussions, it can be a case where you agree with something without doubt, or in other case, you might have a feeling that you are agree with something, but you cannot accept the thing completely. So it is kind of a partial agreement or partial disagreements. So if you try to show your expressions to partially disagree with something, you can say, for example, it is only partly true that blah, 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 blah. That's true, but blah, 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 blah. So you show that in a certain case, you have some agreement and some disagreements toward the case. So I'm agree with you in part, but blah, 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 or well, you could be right, blah, 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 and so on. So you need to indicate that whether you completely agree with someone or you partially agree. If you partially agree, you need to have a justifications toward your case. Jadi kalau misalkan kalian partially agree with someone or something, you need to show extra support why you only agree with partially. That's your burden. The disagreements. In some culture, showing disagreement directly is considered impolite, but in some other cultures, especially the Western cultures, as well as any English-speaking countries, usually expressing disagreement is always respected as honest and courageous, brave actions. So, for example, you can show your disagreements using expressions I don't think so. No way. I'm sorry, but I disagree. I totally disagree. I beg to differ. I would say the exact opposite. Not necessarily. That's not always true. Absolutely not. That's not right. I'm not sure about that. And some others. So for example, I don't agree with you, or you can make it longer. Like, I'm afraid I can't agree with you. I have my own thoughts about that. So principally, or in general, depending on the politeness, the longer your expressions, the more you are considered more polite than the shorter one. Jadi semakin panjang ekspresi yang Anda gunakan, biasanya Anda akan dianggap sebagai terkesan lebih sopan daripada yang ekspresi yang pendek. This is to show the partial agreement, and the same with the previous one. And this one is the interruptions. Interruptions is when you want to provide some interjections towards someone's arguments. So you need to stop someone from saying or stating their opinion or arguments. Then you propose your own interruptions. You say, for example, can I add something here? Is it okay if I jump in for a second? If I might add something, sorry to interrupt, but blah, blah, blah. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, you were saying blah, blah, blah. And you didn't let me finish and blah, blah, blah. But the last one is considered a very strong one. The last one is settling an argument. When there is an argument between two speakers, maybe they need to move from the arguments to discuss another topics. So you can use other expressions like, let's just move on, shall we? Let's drop it. Let's stop the problem. Let's stop the discussions. Or I think we are going to have to agree to disagree. Jadi kita memang kita sepakat bahwasanya kita disagree to each other. Kita tidak sepakat satu sama lain. Tapi let's do it another thing. Jadi semacam itu. Whatever you say, if you say so. The last one is a bit sarcastic, and it's only possible if you have a very high negative sentiments towards your oppositions, or you talk with someone equal with you yourselves. So those are some expressions which are based on the common expressions used to show your agreement, disagreement, partial agreement, interruptions, and also how to settle an argument. So do you have any other examples of how to express your agreement and disagreement?